Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to day 7 of the debates in the Speaker's National Youth Debating Competition. This morning was the first debate in the semifinals, and this afternoon's debate will conclude the semifinals. Immediately after the debate, we will have the live placement of finalists into proposition and opposition for this leg of the competition. To remind you, this is the inaugural Speakers National Youth Debating Competition. This is the inaugural Speakers National Youth Debating Competition, and we started with 16 youth groups. We are now at the second semi-finals. This afternoon, our esteemed judges are Mr. Delon Fraser, our Chief Judge, who is a distinguished Toastmaster and has been a Toastmaster for over a decade. He is a member of the One Country, One World Advanced Toastmasters Club and the Cacique Toastmasters Club. He has served and continued to serve in many leadership roles at the various areas in both clubs, division, district, and area levels. Mr. Fraser has judged numerous contests at various levels and has served as a judge for our previous youth parliaments. He acquired a Master's of Business Administration degree, a Bachelor of Social Sciences degree in International Relations, and a Bachelor's of Law degree and an advanced diploma in project management. He is a Frank Covey facilitator, a global peace ambassador, a scout, and consider himself a global shaper. Our next judge is Ms. Melissa Dow Richardson, who is our Assistant Director of Sport, Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. She is an alumna of St. Stanislaus College, the University of Guyana, the University of the West Indies, the American University of Peace Studies, and the Caribbean Leadership Program. She is a former multidiscipline national athlete in table tennis and basketball. Her sports credentials include Olympic certification in sports administration, World Anti-Doping Agency Certified Doping Control Officer, and Guyana's first and only Level 2 female table tennis coach. Ms. Dow Richardson has a professional background in journalism, education, international relations, business management, community development, and of course, coaching. Our third judge is Ms. Monette Garnett Christopher, the Chief Administrative Officer at Parliament Office. Ms. Garnett Christopher has expertise in administration and finance. She started her career at Queen's College as an economics teacher. She has a Master's of Business Administration degree from the Australian Institute of Business and a Bachelor of Social Sciences degree in economics from the University of the of Guyana. Ms. Garnett Christopher has participated in several in-club and inter-clubs speech contests through the Cacique Toastmasters Club. She also performs several functions, including the General Evaluator and the Grammarian of Table Topic Speeches. Ms. Garnett Christopher believes it's important to keep abreast with current affairs, as a person, if informed and updated, can make significant contributions nationally and globally. The proposing team this afternoon is the Oronoque Sports Club. The club takes its name from the community. It is led by the Community Development Councillor, chairperson. The most frequently played sport in the community are football and cricket by both genders. The Oronoque Sports Club has a high percentage of youths between the ages of 14 and 25. Today, they are going to be represented by Kezia Albert, 19 years old from Pittsburgh, Port Kaituma. Mr. Kieran Williams, 18 years old, also from Pittsburgh, Port Kaituma. Ms. Shania Mitchell, 17 years old, from Ray Line, Port Kaituma. The opposing team is Grove Diamond Youth in Development. This is a youth-based non-governmental organization which is registered with the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport and the Friendly Societies Act. It was established in July of 2009 by a group of young people, namely Ms. Anjani Ramdial, Mr. Chatagun Jadupat, Mr. Andre Yagvalk, and Mr. Sheikh Hassan. The founders thought at the time that it was a good idea to assist youth, especially school dropouts and the less fortunate. And this is in the Grove Diamond community. They did so by creating activities that will equip and enhance youth with skills to help themselves as well as others. There are currently about 20 active members in the group. This afternoon, the three speakers are Ms. Bibi Wazira Yassin, 22 years old, from Luziknan, East Coast, Demerara. Second speaker, Mr. Romario Swetnam, 26 years old, from Grove Diamond. And the third speaker, Mr. Narish Sugrim, 22 years old, from Erstelling. Today's mood, and very carefully this morning we dealt with oil, this afternoon again oil, except this afternoon's mood has a little twist. The mood is, and I quote, "The benefits of oil production outweigh the negatives it does to the environment." Close inverted commas. I declare the debate open and call on the first speaker from the proposition, Ms. Kezia Albert, for the Oronoque Sport Group to make her presentation. Kezia, you're on.
Mic test, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Honorable judges, friends of the opposition, colleagues of the proposition, all, a gratifying day to you. Today, with dignity, I, the first speaker of the proposition, stand boldly before you in extreme confidence to begin my team's argument in proposition of the move, which states, and I quote, "The benefits of oil production outweigh the negatives it does to the environment," unquote. Please permit me to define some key terms in the move, which are benefits, oil production, outweigh, negatives, and environment. The Cambridge Dictionary defines benefits as something that produces good and helpful results or effects that promote well-being. The Oxford Dictionary defines oil production as refining, transporting, and marketing of petroleum products. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, outweigh is defined as greater or more significant than. Negatives refers to something bad or harmful, while environment is the complex atmospheric, geological, and biological characteristics found in an area in the absence of the artifacts or influence of a well-developed technological human culture. Distinguished judges, to prevent any misunderstanding, our position is that the positive effects of responsible oil production to humans are more significant than the threats it poses to the environment. I will emphasize the economic development of oil production. My second speaker will delineate the positive effects of oil production for society and human development. And my third speaker will discuss the strategies taken to mitigate threats to the environment. I will now look at the contributions of economic development from the platform of employment, economic growth, and decline in poverty. Esteemed judges, members of the opposition, according to the International Labor Organization, 6 million people are directly employed in the oil industry, and 10 times more benefit from jobs created indirectly by industry globally. Moreover, a study conducted by Nielsen, one of the largest market companies, estimated that through oil production, there has been 6 to 7% and 2.7% improvement in both local and global markets, respectively. A study conducted in 2017 by Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries estimated that the total income generated from oil production is significantly greater by 69% than the cost linked to environmental impact. Rebels of the opposition, it is clear from the evidence that local and global development is far more characteristics of oil production than environmental risk. Another pertinent point to note is that oil production contributes significantly to an economic's GDP, which is the measure of a country's economic year. According to the National Geographic Society, the global oil and gas market is expected to grow from 4,677.45 billion in 2020 to 5,870.13 billion in 2021, at an annual growth rate of 25.5%. Honorable judges, yes, just in 1 year. Imagine what would have been the case if there were no pandemic. According to globalstatistics.org, 73.6% of the global poverty level has been reduced due to oil production. The World Bank estimates that 9.2% of the world live in poverty as of 2018. Now, tell me, members of the opposition, what would the global poverty level then be without oil production? Definitely, the profits of oil production has outweighed the negatives to the environment. Erudite judges, learned members of the opposition, as I'm about to pass the debating baton on to my second speaker, I applaud with us, the members of the opposition. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Albert. The first speaker for the proposition, Oronoque Sport Club. The first speaker for the Grove Diamond Youth in Development is Ms. Bibi Wazira Yassin. Ms. Yassin, it's now your turn.
The environment and the economy are really both two sides of the same coin, and we cannot sustain the environment. And if we cannot sustain the environment, we cannot sustain ourselves. Wangari Maathai, an environmentalist. Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, prestigious judges, members of the proposition, good afternoon. As the first speaker of the opposition, I, Bibi Waziri Yassin, stands fervently against the move which reads, and I quote, the benefits of oil production outweighs the negatives to the environment, unquote. Sagacious judges, before I delve into my arguments, permit me to define the key words in the mood. According to the Oxford Dictionary revised in 2001, benefit is defined as an advantage or profit gained from something. Oil, a viscous liquid that is non-renewable, derived from petroleum, especially for use as fuel or lubricant. Production, process of being manufactured, outweighs, be greater than something else. Environment, the natural world as a whole or a particular geographical area, especially as affected by the human activity. And negative is something that is harmful or bad, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, revised in 2002. Considering the definition of the pertinent terms, we redefine the mood to mean that the profit gained from manufacturing a viscous liquid is greater than harmful to the natural world as a whole. Honorable judges, we stand robustly to expose the fictitious arguments of the proposition and unveil the heavy disadvantages our production has on the environment. With this in mind, I will expound on a platform that speaks of oil production as a dirty sector. Our second speaker, Romarius Putnam, will elaborate on the carbon footprint, and our final speaker, Naris Supreme, will concretize our argument as he expounds on the ecological impact of production has on the environment. Sagacious judge, why is it warm? According to an article by James Murray on 16th of January 2021, published by Energy, it reads, and I quote, oil and gas is often painted as the dirtiest sector within the energy industry, unquote. Honorable judges, yes, the dirtiest big oil only spent 1% of the combined budget on green energy schemes in 2018. Unquote. Intelligent affirmative 1%, only 1% to clean up the dirtiest sector within the energy industry. Is this a fair trade to our natural world? Allow me to further elaborate on what is meant by dirtiest sector. An assessment done by the World published on 20th February 2020 unveiled the detrimental aftermath that resulted from an unknown oil spill that Brazil experienced in August 2019. It states, and I quote, more than 5,000 tons of oil have been cleared up from about 1,000 locations contaminated estuaries, beaches, mangroves, and reefs along 4,000 km of Brazil's shoreline, and is still being washed up as we speak, unquote. Honorable judges, the effects of this spill is presently ongoing. Just imagine what a disaster this is. This is surely a warning to us that we are now a part of this dirty sector. This informative assessment for the state, and I quote, the oil spill dubbed the largest environmental crisis in the history of Brazil and jeopardized the livelihood of about 144,000 fishermen and shellfish farmers, while contributing a 7% decrease in sales of seafood, unquote. Impartial judges, 5,000 tons of oil, 4,000 km of seashore fluid, 144,000 seamen, 70% decrease. Wise and formative mathematicians. If this is not the turning point in your quadratic equation, then you need to review your variables. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yassin. The second speaker for the Oronoque Sport Club, who is the proposition this afternoon in the second semi-final of the Speakers National Youth Debating Competition, is Mr. Kieron Williams. Kieron, you're on.
Prestigious judges, members of the opposition, colleagues of the proposition, a delightful day to you. As we all know, it is because of oil production that our cars, computers, power plants, generators, and so many other necessities work. Not just for the common man, but hospitals, government office, and so much more. Some may be bold enough to claim we live in an era of oil. Yet the opposition wants to tell us that oil production is worth ceasing, which is the only logical result of their absurd assertion that the negatives of oil production upon the environment far outweigh the plethora of visible benefits. I rise to show that responsible oil production is a valuable asset to human beings even into the long term. Why did I say this? It is known to better the development of humanity's living and social environment. Human development is progress towards making all humans capable of living a long and happy life. Societal development is where society realizes their aim and objectives. According to an article titled Enhancing Life Through Oil, dated March 27, 2021, it was stated, and I quote, safe regulated oil and natural gas production is leading the world in providing 8 to 7% better life experience for the entire global population, unquote. Erudite judges, I will show oil production advances human development by reducing poverty and improving infrastructure. Patience judges, the oil sector is effective directly and indirectly, providing income to a multitude of people worldwide. This shows that revenue is widely distributed, reaching many households to help eliminate the blight of poverty from this modernizing world. An article published by oil expert and researcher Keith Myers in 2016 said that the top 10 producers of oil can see significant 8 to 5.4% in human development than average non-producers. All 10 countries have GDPs in excess of US $15,000 per capita, which is 92% better off than non-producer. Furthermore, the amount of infrastructure that will be constructed to accommodate different aspects of life, including social, economic, and educational. Data released from the United Nations Human Development Index stated, and I quote, countries producing oil set a criterion that align to health, education, and income, or a long and healthy life, access to knowledge, and a decent standard of living, unquote. Moreover, increased infrastructural overall environmental development and the increase in living standard is consistent with the experiences of oil-producing countries like the United Arab Emirates, United States, Trinidad and Tobago, and Canada. Hence, oil production is helpful in improving the quality and standard of life of a country's people. It is also a necessity to support human activities and achievement in technology, science, business, and other areas. Therefore, noble judges, I raise my voice in firm support of the motion correctly states that the benefits of oil production outweigh the negatives it does to the environment. End of quote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams, the second speaker for the Oronoque Sport Club. And now the second speaker for the opposition, Mr. Romario Swetnam, the Grove Diamond Youth in Development Group. Mr. Swetnam, it is your turn.
Honorable Speaker, judges, affirmatives, good afternoon. I, Romario Swetnam, take the mantle to continue to expose the heavy disadvantages oil production has on the environment, as I focus on the enormous carbon footprint that is downplayed by big oil. Erudite judges, a study done by Chalmers University of Technology, published 28 September 28 states, and I quote, "The extraction, transportation, and refining of oil accounts for more than 40% of greenhouse gas emissions, and different oil has different physical properties that requires more energy than others during extraction and refining." Unquote. Members of the affirmative, a single industry responsible for 40% of greenhouse gas emissions. Are we honestly saying the ends justify the means? Wise proposition. Let's return to the scale, and clearly we can see where it tilts. IBIS World, a leading business intelligence firm, states conducted market research, which revealed, and I quote, "The oil and gas sector alone makes up around 2.2% of the global economy," unquote. Now tell me, intelligent proposition, 2.2% of our economy versus 40% damage to our natural world? Is your scale really calibrated? Distinguished judges, a statement by the Environmental Protection Agency in January 2020 revealed, and I quote, "An increase in atmospheric concentrations of greenhouse gases produces a warming effect," unquote. Now what does this really mean? Allow me a brief moment to elaborate. The Earth's atmosphere has always acted like a greenhouse to capture the sun, permitting the emergence of life. Due to the increased emissions, more heat is trapped in the Earth's atmosphere, resulting in the temperature of the Earth increasing faster than naturally expected. Climate change destabilizes the Earth's temperature equilibrium and has far-reaching effects on human beings and the environment, which directly contributes to rising sea level, higher ocean temperatures, and increasing heavy precipitation, shrinking glaciers, unquote. Clever members of the proposition, doesn't these effects sound familiar? Let's take into consideration that over 1,380 homes were flooded, crops and livestock damaged. Families were evacuated in 3 regions right here in Guyana, as was reported by the Guyana Civil Defense Commission on just June 15, 2021. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Honorable judges, according to macro trends, and I quote, Exxon total number of employees in 2020 was 72,000 worldwide. Let's return to our scale for a third time to weigh whether the few jobs and the impact that climate change has on the environment. If we keep pulling debt from the ground, we will reap debt from the skies. Van Jones, a news and political commentator. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Swetnam from the Grove Diamond Youth in Development Group. The third speaker for the proposition is Ms. Shania Mitchell, the proposition being the Oronoque Sport Club. Shania, it is your turn.
Esteemed judges, wise opposition, all, good afternoon to you. I rise to cement my team's position upholding a moot which states, and I quote, "The benefits of oil production outweigh the negatives it does to the environment," unquote. It is my duty this afternoon to show you that despite popular belief, oil production production can take place with marginal risk for the environment. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, which states, and I quote, earthquakes have been in existence since the 16th centuries, and oil production only began in the 18th centuries, unquote. Lord Judges, is the opposition position that in the face of environmental threats, governments and oil companies have been contented to do nothing? If this is the case, this is clearly untrue. My purpose today is to elaborate upon the initiatives taken to mitigate environmental threats while capitalizing on the benefits of oil production. Lord Judges, esteemed opponents, are you aware of the National Oil Spill Response? This initiative was taken by the government of Guyana, partnering with the Maritime Administrative Agency and the Center for Disease Control, and sought the establishment of a National Oil Spill Committee dedicated to preventing and effectively responding to oil spill. It has been reported by Canada's oil and gas producer that industry innovations such as blowout preventers and offloading systems are specially designed to prevent oil spill. It is clear that oil producers are adapting themselves to cater for the impact of oil production in the environment. Furthermore, companies like Ecopetrol and have been reducing direct operational emissions and are estimated to reduce emission by 50% in 2050. According to the world, to enjoy the benefits of oil production without rushing into a climate crisis. In closing, I wish to remind you that the oil industry is not looking quietly, but is learning from its history and adapting its technologies to environmental needs. The benefits of oil production now go beyond convenience. They have become necessities in modern society. And environmental risks, which are being responded to, cannot, and I repeat, cannot be sufficient to overthrow them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mitchell. That's Ms. Mitchell, the third speaker for the Oronoque Sport Club, the proposition. And now, the third speaker for the opposing group, the Grove Diamond Youth and Development Group, is Mr. Naresh Sugrim. Naresh, it's your turn.
Let me check. All protocols observed. Good afternoon. I, Naresh Sugrim, final speaker of the opposition, will now take the mantle across the finish line as I elaborate on the detrimental impact of oil production on the environment, ecological systems. Prestigious judges, let us embark on a visual journey of our beautiful, colorful coral reefs, especially those in the Caribbean Sea, which we all at some point wishes to see at least once in our lifetime. Now picture this thick, black, viscous liquid covering the surface of the ocean for miles and miles, blocking sunlight, killing nature, turning vibrant blues and reds into brown death. This is the sad reality of an oil spill. Wise proposition. According to Oil Care Campaign 2020, and I quote, just 1 liter of oil can continue as it spreads over the surface, can contaminate 1 million liters of water. This oil production can have this devastating effect on the water's environment as it spreads over the surface in a thin layer that blocks oxygen, preventing photosynthesis, which disrupts the food chain, harming its insects and animals, which takes a long time to recover, unquote. Forbes magazine published in the 24th of February 2020, and I quote, over the next 20 years, scientists estimate about 70% to 90% of all coral reefs will disappear, primarily as a result of oil spill, warming ocean waters, ocean acidity, and pollution caused by greenhouse effect, unquote. So, diligent judges, chances are your children or even this generation may not be able to experience the beauty of the coral reefs, taking into consideration that, and I quote, barriers, reefs, and the tools can take from 10,000
Hi, Naresh. Naresh, Naresh, Naresh. Mr. Sugrim, someone need to cue him that we have lost his audio about a minute ago. Naresh, we lost the audio. Hello, Naresh, Naresh, Mr. Sugrim, you're hearing me? Mr. Sugrim, are you hearing? Mr. Sugrim? Mr. Sugrim? Mr. Sugrim, Grove Diamond Community Group, you hearing us? We're not hearing you. Naresh, we will have to ask you to repeat. We lost you after about 2 minutes. And between the second and third minute, sorry, just before the second minute, you are breaking up. We have to get you to represent. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some audio challenges. We are not hearing the debater, Mr. Naresh Sugrim. We are trying to establish the audio link. The video seems to be fine. This is putting us back another 5 minutes. We're running about 15 minutes behind schedule at this stage. But this is the semifinals, and we have to hear the presentation from everyone in its entirety. So Naresh is coming back now with audio. Naresh, you're hearing me now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Naresh, technical difficulties caused us to lose your transmission after about 2 minutes, and prior to that we had periods of interruption. So it's going to be difficult for him to cue in where he stopped, so we may have to have him to repeat. Yes. Naresh, 3 minutes to repeat your presentation. You start now.
All protocols observed. Good afternoon. I, Naresh Sugrim, final speaker of the opposition, will now take the mantle across the finishing line as I elaborate on the detrimental impact of oil production on the environment's ecological systems. Prestigious judges, let us embark on a visual journey of our beautiful, colorful coral reefs, especially those in the Caribbean Sea, which we all at some point wishes to see at least once in our lifetime. Now picture this black viscous liquid covering the surface of the ocean for miles and miles, blocking sunlight, killing nature's beauty, turning vibrant blues and red into brown lead. This is the sad reality of an oil spill. Wise proposition. According to Oil Care Campaign 2020, and I quote, just a liter of oil can contaminate 1 million liters of water. This oil pollution can have a devastating effect on the water's environment, as it spreads from the surface in a thin layer that blocks oxygen, preventing photosynthesis, which disrupts the food chain, harming insects and animals, which takes a long time to recover, unquote. First magazine published on the 24th of February 2020, and I quote, over the next 20 years, scientists estimate about 70 to 90% of all coral reefs will disappear, primarily as a result of oil spill, warming ocean waters, ocean acidity, and pollution caused by greenhouse gases, unquote. So, ladies and judges, chances are your children or even this generation may not be able to experience the beauty of the coral reefs. Taking into consideration that, and I quote, barrier reefs and atoll can take from 100,000 to 30 million years to fully form, as stated by National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration 2020. But if you are still not yet convinced, let us examine the next part. The Center for Biological Diversity reported in 2011 from an oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, where over 779 million liters of oil contribute to more than 82,000 birds harmed, 6,000 sea turtles harmed, as many as 25,900 marine mammals harmed, destroying entire ecosystems. Only recently, another disaster occurred in the Gulf of Mexico, where a leaky glass pipeline sparks an inferno, which raised an alarming question. How would Guyana cope if it suffers similar fate with Exxon's gas project? When Exxon already blatantly disregarded the environment since December 2019, with its continuous excessive flaring, which is set to turn Guyana from a carbon sink to a carbon bomb. The Center of Environmental Law, May 27, 2020, stated that, and I quote, the flaring which exceeds acceptable levels released threatening the global climate, the local environment, and public health, end quote. Is this what humanity will continue to do? Turn a blind eye to the environment's cry for profit? If you really think the economy is more important than the environment, try holding your breath whilst you count your money. Dr. Guy McPherson, a distinguished scientist. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sugrim. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the 6 debaters for the second semi-final in the Speakers National Youth Debating Competition. That was Mr. Naresh Sugrim from the Grove Diamond Youth in Development Group. We are going to give the groups about 7 minutes to get their thoughts together for the rebuttals. The rebuttals will be done by the opposition first, Ms. Bibi Wazira Yassin from the Grove Diamond Youth in Development Group, and then followed by Ms. Kezia Albert from the Oronoque Sport Club. Those are going to be the 2 persons doing the rebuttals. But let us have a word from our Public Relations Officer of the Parliament, Mr. Yannick December, about this
Hello everyone,
debating
I'm Yannick
competition.
December,
Yannick,
Public Relations Officer here at the Parliament Office. I'm also a member of the Planning Committee for the Speakers National Youth Debating Competition, a competition which serves as a feeder into the 6th Annual Youth Parliament 2021. Youth Parliament was first hosted by the National Assembly in 2015 under the speakership of the Honourable Raphael Trotman. This year, Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honourable Mansour Nadir, thought it best to widen participation to allow more youths to become knowledgeable of the institution of Parliament. 16 youth groups from across our educational districts are participating in this competition. 8 of those groups will advance to participate in Youth Parliament 2021. What's in it for you, you may ask? Trophies, plaques, cash prizes, tablets, and a laptop for the best debater in the final debate. The final debate will be held at 2 p.m. on Friday, the 9th of July, 2021. We are pleased to have you tune into this competition and promise that you will have robust debates from our debaters. I will now hand you over to the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honourable Mansour Nadir.
Mr. December, and let us just visit social media for some of your comments. It's been a debate, Natalia Abrams says, which showed both sides on fire. Iva Safi, watching from Queens, New York. Malaika Russell, interesting mood. Best wishes to both teams. Leon Bailey Beaton, good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. I'm currently skipping my statistics class to watch this debate. I trust that Leon is having someone tape the lecture so that he can fill in that gap. And we all know how technical statistics are. The statistics today is that 16 teams, 48 debaters started this competition, and now at the end of today, we're going to be down to 2 teams, 6 presenters for the finals on Friday at 2 p.m. at the Arthur Chung Convention Center. Yavindra Ramsarup says, love the energy by both teams. This will be another tough one. Thank you so much, Yavindra. Yes, the finalists, the semi-finalists have all done extremely well, and they're here because they're all champions. We have seen some revelations in this competition. We have had the Queenstown Youth Group, all very young people making it into the semi-finals and losing out by just 4 points this morning to the Cummings Lodge Youth Group. 4 points. And that could have gone anywhere. This afternoon, we have the Grove Diamond Youth in Development. Opposing and proposing was the Oronoque Sport Club. Oronoque finished the first round by beating the University of Guyana Student Society. So this is a tough one. This competition is going to be a calendar event. Its purpose is not necessarily to bring out debating skills, but primarily to ensure we can make our people aware, all of our people, aware of the institutions of democracy that we have in our country. And the National Assembly, the Parliament, this is the legislative arm of government. We have the executive and we have the judiciary. And we are using competitions like this, other activities, to promote the duties of parliamentarians, the work of the parliament, and more importantly, to ensure we can build a culture of democracy among our people. Our judges this afternoon, who are busy there tabulating their scores for this second semi-final debate, we have 3 very distinguished judges who have been with us for the last 3 weeks. This afternoon, we have Ms. Monette Garnett Christopher, the Chief Administrative Officer of Parliament Office. Ms. Garnett Christopher has a master's degree in business administration, a social science degree in economics from the University of Guyana. She has been a Toastmaster herself, has judged many competitions, and is keen on our people being informed and updated about what is happening around locally, nationally, and globally. Our next judge is Mrs. Melissa Dow Richardson. Ms. Dow Richardson is the country's Assistant Director of Sport, Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. She holds a University of Guyana degree from the Law and History faculty, University of the West Indies degree, American University of Peace Studies, and the Caribbean Leadership Program. She is an athlete herself, having played table tennis and basketball at the national level. She is an anti-doping control officer, and she is also the only female level 2 table tennis coach. And our chief judge today is Mr. Delon Fraser, a distinguished Toastmaster for more than 10 years. He has a master's degree in business administration a social science degree in international relations, a bachelor's of law degree, an advanced diploma in project management, and himself was a lead debater in our youth program. Those are the three judges today that we have. As I look, the judges are still busy. I know all 6 contestants are very nervous, palms of their hands sweating profusely, feet tapping, knees knocking. So this is where we are this afternoon. 2 semi-finalists will produce 1 finalist that will go on to debate on Friday at 2 p.m. After the announcement of the winner, we will have the random assigning of the moot to the proposition and the opposition, that moot for the final. We will have that assignment just after the competition winner, the debate winner today is announced. As we wait on our judges, let me express our appreciation to the Honorable Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Charles Ramson, and the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport for their cooperation at short notice in identifying the 16 youth group, and we were able to draw them from 8 administrative regions. Next year, we thus will be able to have every single region represented. This year, we had the challenges of flooding, making it difficult for regions 9 and 7 to participate in the debate. But we started with 16 groups, and now we're coming down to the 2 finalists. Yes, the 2 finalists. The judges are now have now completed their assessment, and it's time to call on the judges to give their remarks. Let me start with, sorry. I'm missing the rebuttals. We're now at the point of the rebuttals. The rebuttals will be done, first of all, by the opposition, the Grove Diamond Youth in Development, and their lead speaker is 22 years old, Miss Bibi Waziri Yassin. Ms. Yassin, it is your turn.
Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, prestigious judge, intelligent proposition, IBB Waziri Yassin stand robustly for a second and final time to continue to expose the fictitious arguments of the proposition and unveil the heavy disadvantages of production has on the environment. It is quite evident that the wise members of the proposition are blindsided of the fact that the manufacturing of this viscous liquid blatantly disregards the natural world compensated for this with adequate amount of benefits. Is this how we balance the scale? Honorable judges, it is painful to listen to the intelligent proposition in which the discloses scanty short-term benefits and no returns for the environment that sustain life. Why are you members of the proposition so cruel to is more important than the environment. Try holding your breath whilst you count your money, unquote. Second, honorable judges, the second member of the affirmative elaborated on eliminating poverty. But may I remind him that oil production only contributes 2.2% of the global economy, which was further elaborated by my second speaker. Are we going to trade this 2.2% for a 40% damage to our natural world? Honorable judges, the third speaker elaborated on oil spill response. I am happy she would have brought this to us. Mind you, she failed to acknowledge that Brazil is still facing the detrimental aftermath of an oil spill that is of an unknown origin since August 2019. Even though this country has regulations, why is it still the country not being able to recover as yet, because this problem is still ongoing? Why is it that 4,000 km of Brazil seashore still polluted? Why is it 1,000 and 4,000 fishermen still affected and 70% decrease in sales of seafood? In addition, if we look at oil spills, we will notice the devastating aftermath oil spills left, not forgetting the destruction of ecosystems, which we can no doubt affect us all. Mind you, an oil spill response is not oil spill prevention. Members of the affirmative, do we need to revisit the book? Honorable Judge, you also mentioned that all producers are adapting themselves. May I ask, why is it that the Gulf of Mexico is currently facing another disaster due to oil production, as my third speaker mentioned? How is this? How is it that they are adapting when this would have repeated itself? As I stand here, my heart aches for the innocent wildlife that are faced with discomfort we create by simply disregarding the devastating impact our production has on the environment. Honorable judges, why do these animals deserve to suffer from our unwise actions? This is nothing but being ungrateful and unappreciated to the natural world. And as such, our country is already facing the tip of the iceberg, which is already alarming. And if we continue to play a blind eye to this enormous issue, then we're only digging deeper holes, which we will not be able to fill. Let us all take a moment and process the words of the distinguished scientist, Mr. Guy McPherson, and I quote, "If you really think the economy is more important than the environment, try holding your breath while you count your money," unquote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yazin from the Grove Diamond Youth and Development Group, leading off with the rebuttals from the opposition. And now for the proposition from the Oronoque Sport Club in Port Kaituma, the proposing team being represented by Ms. Kezia Albert. Kezia, it is now your turn.
Erudite judges, friends of the opposition, colleagues of the proposition, viewers, listeners all, a pleasant day to you. Today, I, the first speaker of the proposition, stand boldly before you once more in extreme confidence, not to put forward new arguments, but to neutralize the points put forward by the members of the opposition, and to highlight that the misinformation they provide still does not outweigh the marvelous benefits of oil production, since we are all aware of the factual information provided from us, the members of the proposition, and can visualize from everyday reality that the benefits of oil production has indeed, and I repeat, has indeed outweighed the negatives it does to the environment. Allow me to take you through the main points that were limitedly discussed by the members of the opposition. Learned First Speaker of the opposition, you stated about the oil spill. However, my question to the opposition is, how often does this occur? Did we not mention about the systems we have in place to combat this? According to yours truly, a study conducted in 2017 by the Organization of Petroleum generated from oil production is significantly greater by 69% than the cost linked to the environmental impacts. Lord Second Speaker of the opposition, you mentioned about enormous carbon footprint, greenhouse gases emission, which leads to the warming effect. However, my third speaker highlighted that companies like EcoPetrol have been reducing direct operational emissions and are estimated to reduce emissions by 50% by 2050, allowing the world to enjoy the benefits of oil production without rushing into a climate crisis. The third speaker of the opposition boldly mentioned once again about oil spill. However, erudite judges, my third speaker mentioned about the National Oil Spill Response Plan, which was taken by countries partnering with the Maritime Administration Agency and the Center of Disease Control, and saw the establishment of a National Oil Spill Committee dedicated to preventing and effectively responding to oil spills. She further stated that it had been reported by Canada's oil and gas producer that industry innovations such as blow-up preventers and off-leading systems are specifically designed to prevent oil spills. It is clear that oil producers are adapting themselves to cater for the impacts of oil production on the environment. Most educated judges, as I'm about to conclude my team's argument in proposition of the moot with states, and I quote, the benefits of oil production outweigh the negative it does to the environment, unquote. I wish to remind you that the oil industry is not looking quietly, but is learning from its history and adapting its technologies to environmental needs. The benefits of oil production now go beyond convenience. They have become necessities in modern society, and environmental risks which are being responded to cannot be sufficient to overthrow them. Indeed, the benefits of oil production outweigh, and I repeat, outweigh the negative it does to the environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Albert. And there you have it. Our two teams, all of the presentations, 6 presentations and the 2 rebuttals. And that is the second semifinal debate in the Speaker's National Youth Debating Competition. We now have to give our judges a few moments to now summarize, and after those 2 exciting rebuttals, the debate is even closer. The 2 teams today are the Oronoque Sport Club, the proposition. Those members are Ms. Kezia Albert, Mr. Kieron Williams, and Ms. Shania Mitchell. And the opposing group, the Grove Diamond Youth in Development, and the 3 speakers, Bibi Wazida Yassin, Romario Svetnam, and Naresh Sugrim. Congratulations to all of you. You have done extremely well. Friday at 2 p.m., one of these teams will advance to the finals in the Speaker's National Youth Debating Competition. Our judges are going to give us some comments before our Chief Judge, Mr. Delon Fraser, will make the announcement. Today we will get Best Debater recognition from the opposition and Best Debater recognition from the proposition. I take this opportunity, because we're going to be very pressed for time, to say thanks to our judges, thanks to our debaters, thanks to the persons who assisted them, their resource persons, and thanks to our organizing team. The weeks went by extremely fast, and already we are upon the finals of the Speaker's National Youth Debating Competition, which will be held at the Arthur Chung Convention Center on Friday at 2 p.m., Friday, July the 9th at 2 p.m. We've seen today the two semifinals. The first semifinal this morning at 10 a.m. was between the Queenstown Youth Group and the Cummings Lodge Youth Group. The Cummings Lodge Youth Group, I want to say, squeezing out a win because the scores were 240 for Queenstown and 244 for Cummings Lodge. So that could have gone anywhere, with one presentation making the difference. So whoever wins this afternoon, you have to face the Cummings Lodge Youth Group from Cummings Lodge. I see our chief judge is making his way back to the chief judge's seat, the hot seat, and we will now ask our judges to make some comments. Let me first start with Judge Melissa Dow Richardson. Judge Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, fellow judges, staff of the Parliament Office, to both debating teams and to everyone who's watching this exciting activity online and on television. I want to commend both teams for their well-presented arguments. There was clear evidence of research, fair references to the situation in Guyana in relation to oil production and the impact on our environment. We have external oil companies here in our country. There were good references also to what's happening in other parts of the world. But in a conversation like this that is a global issue, I would have liked to see more references to, for instance, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Those goals have to be attained by 2030, and there are 17 of them, and 3 of the goals, Goal 6, Goal 9, and Goal 13, speak directly to this argument, the issue of climate and climate action, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, clean water and sanitation. So at the level of this competition that we're at here in the semifinals, I wanted to see some more reference to the broader overarching framework and structure within which we're functioning as an equal member of the international community. Apart from that, the statistics are appreciated, and I just want to caution against shouting. Because shouting, you come across a little angry. And as contentious and intense as the debate is, we don't want to shout. We want to be emphatic. We want to express ourselves with clarity and with profundity. Otherwise, congratulations to both teams for making it to the semifinals. Work well done, and may the best team win. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Judge Melissa Dow Richardson. And now some comments from Judge Monet Garnett Christopher.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations to both teams for reaching this far in the competition. I heard a lot about the benefits from the proposition, but how those benefits actually outweigh the negative effects on the environment, I think you could have done more in this respect. Is there high employment opportunities from this? Is the profit enough to deal with the negative effects this can have on the environment? With respect to the opposition, a lot was also said about the impact on the environment with respect to climate change, but how those impacts are superior to the benefits that we have from oil production. It is commendable that since you're moving to the finals, you had a really great structure. There was great cohesion in the presentations based on your points, on your arguments. Your arguments were fairly developed as well. Your reasoning was good as well. The use of the English language, I particularly took note of that. It was really good as well. The presentations were very clear, the deliveries, except for the little break in transmission that we had. There was less body movement as well. However, I can still see some amount of reading. You're moving to the finals. So we're urging you not to read, learn your presentations. You seem as though you're looking to the notes on a wall presented or something. You're still reading, and at this level you should not be reading. But nevertheless, I can safely say that all presentations were great this afternoon, and congratulations to the winning team, which will be moving forward to the finals. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Monette. And now for our Chief Judge, Mr. Delon Fraser. Chief Judge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And first of all, I would like to congratulate both teams for making it so far into this competition. You all should be very proud of yourselves, of the growth, and of course, the skills and the techniques that you would have honed over the last week or so. Mr. Speaker, I had the great pleasure of listening to two exciting teams that debated the moot this afternoon. I've heard great structure from both teams. We've heard, of course, the definitions, and what I look out for is the interpretation of the moot, which allows me to see how your arguments will be guided. And I thank you both for that. The speakers developed their arguments nicely while transitioning from point to point. I can safely tell you that your transitions has become better than the last time that we would have adjudged you. So you should be happy about that and congratulate yourself for making the extra effort in practicing your transitions. There were great use of literary devices and short sentences, and of course vocal variety that made it very easy for me, and by extension the judges, to follow your arguments. I'm very proud of both teams, Mr. Speaker, and I am now happy to announce the scores. Mr. Speaker, for the first time sitting here as the judge after the individual debates and arguments, we've had a tie. Both teams tied with 226 points. So it all came down to the rebuttal. The rebuttal was also close because one team managed to score just two points above the other team. So the total scores together with the rebuttals, one team got 284, while the other team got 286. Mr. Speaker, it is my pleasure to announce the winner for this semi-finals debate is none other than the opposition, Grove Diamond Youth in Development. Thought that the best speaker from the proposition is none other than Mr. Kieran Williams, while the best speaker for the opposition is Mr. Narish Sugrim. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the judges, we thank you for the opportunity to judge, and we do look forward to the finals. I thank you.
Thank you, Chief Judge. Thank you, judges. We thought this morning was close. This afternoon was even closer. And what I was, and I'm very excited about, is that we have seen development in the groups. I was very impressed myself with Kieran in his presentation, and Naresh Sugrim. I think both of them have emerged as two very good speakers also. It's been a great competition. Now we wait on Mr. Scipio to assign the moot to the two teams, one proposing, one opposing, and that assignment will be done by random number. I take this opportunity to commend the groups that participated and congratulate Kieran, congratulate Narish, congratulate all the other semi-finalists today, and to congratulate the winners, the Grove Diamond Youth in Development Group. So we are going to have an all Region 4 final on Friday, the Cummings Lodge Youth Group against the Grove Diamond Youth in Development. And this is the finals. I just want to say to both teams that when that second bell is sounded, don't ignore it, because you see what is happening. 5 points come off persons who continue to ignore the bell and speak. And for me this morning, we've seen quite a few persons continuing on as if they have the entire day to speak, and this afternoon also. But remember, Cummings Lodge won by just 4 points. This afternoon, at the end of the 6 presentations, there was a tie, 226 points each. And after the rebuttal, the 2 points separated the two teams, with Grove Diamond winning with 286 points and Oronoque Sport Group 284 points. It's been very, very, very close. Mr. Scipio, are you ready?
Speaker, I'm ready.
Here is Mr. Scipio. We have 2 teams, 1 moot, but someone has to propose and someone has to oppose, and when he presses that button, the computer will assign proposition and opposition. Scipio, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, judges, Mr. Charles, and team, colleagues. First, congratulations to all the team that participated from day one until now. I must say that it has been a rigorous competition, especially for the latter parts of it, the semi-finals, coming down to the quarterfinals, semi-finals. This morning, I was surprised, very much surprised by the scores as well. From the onset, it looked, for me personally, it looked like the region, the Ezekiel-based team would have taken it away, but we saw that a bit of reading, and too much reading can sway the whole competition to your opponents. This afternoon was nothing different. As most persons know, my favorites are the Region 1 folks, and again, you saw there a few points they were able to lose, and they weren't able to qualify because of a few points. And I must say, congrats to both teams, the participants this afternoon. It was really a really good debate. The topics for this afternoon were one that we can most likely be called relevant. I want to thank the team that I work on for the moods. Those are excellent moods. I find them excellent. Mr. Hines, Miss Charles, Miss Adams. Those are excellent moods. Anyhow, let's go on. We must know who will be proposing and opposing for Friday's final. As you know, we're going to have the prize giving ceremony, XYZ, on that same day. So I'm going to go ahead and press generate schedule for those online. You probably can see there has the green tab that marks generate schedule. Basically what I'm doing again, I'm going to generate automatically by computer, of course, who is going to be opposing and proposing the mood, because we already have 2 teams left. And there it goes. It is now generating to see which team will go against which team. The final mood for that competition, for the finals, will be one labeled online classes during COVID-19 will widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Another great mood again to the team. Very excellent mood, I must say. And Mr. Speaker, you know, with COVID-19 and online classes, there have been a lot of debacle and probably concerning. So there you have it on your screen. You can see there, for the folks that are going to be proposing, will be the Grove Diamond Youth in Development. You have there, say, have their winner, semi-final 2. They'll be proposing that moot on Friday come, and then we have the Cummings Lodge Youth Movement who will be opposing again Mr. Richard, Barney, and team. So once again, congratulations. We look forward for an exciting final coming this Friday. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scipio. And there you have it, the 2 finalists. The proposition on Friday in the finals will be the Grove Diamond Youth in Development and the opposition will be the Cummings Lodge Youth Group. On the moot online classes will widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Again, our sincerest appreciation, thanks to those who are broadcasting this debate live, GlobeSpan, NCN, the Learning Channel, and others. Thank you very much. Thank you, judges. Thank you, staff. Looking forward to seeing you at 2 p.m. on Friday. Have a good rest of the evening.